I remember that moment so clearly. The moment when everything in my life, which was already bad, got even worse. I was standing in the middle of the school basketball court. The lights blazed straight down, so bright I had to squint. All around me were shouts, the squeak of shoes on the floor, the referee's whistle, and laughter, not cheering. They were laughing at me. Ambrose, shoot it already, or are you planning to hug that ball till the end of the game? Someone yelled from the stands. I gripped the ball tighter. My palms were slick with sweat. My heart pounded so hard it felt like it was about to burst out of my chest. I didn't belong here. I knew it. Everyone knew it. But I was still here, because I wanted to try, just once, to not be the loser. Focus. The coach barked. I nodded, even though my throat was bone dry. Right in front of me was Vance. He stood there, calm and steady, like none of the chaos around us affected him at all. His cold blue eyes locked onto mine. Team captain, the star of the team, the guy everyone trusted, the guy who was everything I wasn't. Pass it, he said, voice low and firm. All I had to do was pass the ball and everything would be fine. The game would continue. No one would remember my mistake. But I didn't pass. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted to prove something. Or maybe I was just tired of always being the one in the background. I shot. It was bad. The ball slipped from my hands at a completely wrong angle. It didn't even graze the rim. Perfect shot to become a joke. Silence. For exactly 1 second. Then, boom. Laughter exploded across the stands. Someone whistled. Someone clapped sarcastically. I stood frozen in the middle of the court, still holding the exact same shooting pose. Hot. My face was burning. Not from the lights. From shame. What the hell was that? One of my teammates shouted. I told you to pass. I couldn't speak. My throat closed up. Every single pair of eyes was on me. And among all those eyes, I saw Vance. He wasn't laughing. He didn't say a word. He just looked at me. That look, it wasn't disgust. It wasn't anger. It was disappointment. I wished he would yell in my face. I wished he would curse me out like everyone else. At least then I would know I deserved to be hated. But that look, it made me feel 100 times worse. Time out. The coach blew the whistle. Ambrose, get off the court. I didn't react right away. I just stood there, like an idiot. Get off. This time his voice was louder. I flinched and quickly ran off the court. The laughter chased after me. I didn't look back. I didn't look at anyone. I didn't look at Vance. The locker room was empty. I pushed the door open, breathing hard, then braced both hands on the sink. The mirror. I stared at myself. A loser. Red eyes. Messy hair. Pale face. Great job, Ambrose. I muttered. Once again. I don't know how long I stood there. Until the door opened. You just missed the worst shot I've ever seen. That voice. I closed my eyes for a second, then opened them. Vance. He was leaning against the door, hands in the pockets of his jacket, eyes still fixed on me. I let out a dry laugh. Thanks. I thought so too. He didn't smile. He just stepped inside. The door clicked shut behind him. The room became quieter, heavier. Why didn't you pass? He asked. I shrugged. I don't know. You don't know? Yeah. I turned away, not wanting to look at him. Maybe I just wanted to try something different. By throwing up a garbage shot in front of the whole school? I bit my lip. Yeah, pretty much. A beat of silence. Then, what exactly were you trying to prove? I spun around. Not everyone is like you, Vance. The words flew out before I could stop them. He froze. So did I. Sorry, I said quietly, turning my face away. It's fine, he replied, voice still calm. But I knew. I had touched something. I'm not good, I said, eyes on the floor. You saw it yourself. Yeah. And I'm tired of always being the worst. My voice grew smaller. Just once, I wanted to try. And you thought that was the way to win? I smiled, a crooked, broken smile. No, I knew I'd lose. I always lose. Then he stepped closer. I didn't lift my head until, I don't think so. I looked up. We were so close I could see every detail on his face. Those blue eyes, they weren't cold anymore. You just took a stupid shot, he said bluntly. I winced. Thanks again. But, he continued, voice slowing, at least you had the guts to shoot. I froze. All those people in the stands? He tilted his head toward the door. None of them dared to step onto the court. I don't need your pity. I'm not pitying you. He looked straight into my eyes. I'm telling the truth. My heartbeat slowed, not because I was calmer, but because I was actually listening. You think I've never lost? He asked. I stayed silent. You only see me when I win. His voice dropped. The times I failed, no one remembers. He was standing so close, too close. I could feel his breath. But you, he said, eyes never leaving mine. You remember every single time you lost. Every one of them. And you let them define you. I didn't answer, because he was right. Ambrose. He said my name. I don't think you're a loser. My heart stopped. At least, he lowered his voice, not the way you think. The air between us shifted, sharply. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I couldn't look away from him. Then what way? I asked, voice hoarse. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at me, for a long time. Then, he raised his hand, touched my cheek. I froze. A light touch, but burning, so hot it felt like my skin was on fire. You're not losing, he whispered. You just haven't found the right thing to win yet. My heart hammered wildly, out of control. And what if that thing is me? I don't know why I said it, but I did. The air froze. Vance went still. His eyes darkened. Then, he didn't pull his hand away. Then, he said slowly, you're playing a very dangerous game, Ambrose. I swallowed hard. Why? He leaned down, so close. Because I'm not the kind of guy who likes to lose. And right then, I knew I had just stepped into a game I couldn't walk away from. And this time, I wasn't even sure I wanted to win. I should have stopped. Right at that moment, when the space between me and Vance was so small that all it would take was one tilt of the head, and everything would cross the line. I should have stepped back, cracked a joke, or at least pretended I didn't understand what was happening. But I didn't. I stayed still. I didn't dodge. I didn't run. My eyes locked onto his, as if leaving would make me lose something important I hadn't even understood yet. Dangerous, I repeated softly. Yeah, his breath brushed my lips. You don't want to get involved with me, Ambrose. One part of me said, yeah, stop. The other part whispered, just a little closer. Too late, I said. The moment the words left my mouth, I saw Vance's eyes change. No longer a warning, something darker. You don't know what you're saying, he replied. Then explain it to me. He let out a long breath, like he was trying to hold something back. He pulled his hand from my face. The empty space immediately felt cold. Go outside, he said. I frowned. What? Get out of the locker room, he repeated, voice firmer. We shouldn't be here. I stood there for a few seconds, confused, unwilling. Why? I asked. He turned his back, running a hand through his hair. Because if we stay... He paused. I'm going to do something we'll both regret. My heart pounded. Are you sure? He spun around. This time, his eyes had lost all restraint. Ambrose. I stepped forward. One step, then another. You're trying to push me away, I said. Yes. But you don't really want to. The distance between us disappeared again. Don't pretend you don't feel it, I continued, voice lower. Feel what? He asked, even though I knew he understood. I raised my hand, hesitated for a second, then pressed it against his chest. His heartbeat, fast, hard, exactly like mine. This, I whispered. The air exploded. Vance looked down at my hand, then back up. And this time he didn't step back. You really don't know what you're doing, he said, but his voice was no longer as steady. Maybe, I admitted, but for the first time, I don't want to overthink it. 1 second of silence. Then, he pulled me in. No warning, no hesitation, just a strong pull that slammed me against him. And his lips met mine. I didn't have time to react, no time to prepare. But my body reacted before my brain could. I grabbed his shirt, held him there, like if I let go, everything would disappear. The kiss wasn't gentle. It wasn't slow. It was fierce, like he had been holding this back for too long, like I had too. I didn't know who started it. I didn't know who was leading. I only knew, couldn't stop. When we finally broke apart, both of us were breathing hard. I looked at him. His eyes had darkened, more dangerous. That was a mistake, he said. I smiled faintly. Yeah. We should stop. I nodded. Yeah. A second passed. 2 seconds. Neither of us moved. Then I whispered, but you don't want to stop. He cursed under his breath, then pulled me in again. This time I was the one who took control. Kissed him back. No more hesitation. No more fear. Only desire. After that, we didn't speak. We just stood there, a small distance between us, but not enough to make things normal again. Tonight, Vance said. I looked at him. What? Come to my room. My heart stopped. Why? I asked, even though I already knew the answer. He looked at me. No dodging. Because I want to keep going. A beat of silence. And I think you do too. I should have refused. I really should have. But instead, I nodded. Okay. He breathed out in relief, like he had just lost a game he knew he shouldn't have lost. 8 o'clock, he said. Don't be late. I smiled. You always give orders like that? He smirked. If I don't, you'll run. I didn't answer, because he was right. I left the locker room after that. My legs were still shaking. My mind was a mess. What the hell did I just do? Kiss Vance, the team captain, a guy. I leaned my back against the hallway wall, breathing hard. Great, I muttered. Ambrose, you just ruined your life. But deep down, I knew. I had never felt more alive. 8 o'clock that night, I stood in front of Vance's dorm room door. My hand rose, hesitated. If I turned around right now, everything could go back to normal. I could keep being the usual loser, safe. No one would know. No one would get hurt. But I didn't turn around. I knocked. Once, twice. The door opened. Vance stood there, black t-shirt, sweatpants, hair slightly messy like he had just showered. He looked at me, didn't say a word. But his eyes said everything. "You came," he said. I nodded. "Yeah." A short silence. Then he stepped back, opened the door wider. "Come in." I stepped across that threshold. And right then, I wasn't just walking into Vance's room. The door closed behind me, a soft click, but loud enough to make my heart skip a beat. Vance's room wasn't what I expected. It wasn't messy like a typical college athlete's room. No flashy posters or trophies on display. Everything was neat to the point of being cold. A single bed with white sheets. A clean desk with only a laptop and a few books. A team jacket hung perfectly on the wall. No trace of a personal life. "Sit," Vance said, closing the door and leaning against it. I didn't move right away. I just stood in the middle of the room. Not because I didn't know where to sit, but because I didn't know what to do next. "You planning to stand there all night?" he asked. I gave a weak smile. "Maybe." He smirked lightly, but he didn't step closer. The distance between us right now wasn't just a few steps. It was an invisible line. "Want some water?" he asked. "No." "Beer?" "No." He nodded. "Okay." It was nothing like the locker room. No impulsiveness. No adrenaline. Only reality. "What are we doing?" I asked. The question slipped out before I could stop it. Vance looked at me. No dodging. "I think you know," he answered. "I know what happened," I said, "but I don't know what this is." He didn't reply immediately. He just walked over to the desk and leaned against it. "What do you want it to be?" he asked back. I froze. I hadn't thought that far. Actually, I hadn't even thought I would be standing here. "I don't know," I admitted. He nodded slightly. "Then I'll be clear." My heart tightened. "What happened between us," he paused, "isn't something I do often." I let out a small laugh. "I hope not." He didn't smile. "I'm not the kind of guy who does this with a classmate." "But you did," I reminded him. "Yeah. And that's why we need to be clear," he said. I crossed my arms and leaned lightly against the wall. "Clear how?" His eyes sharpened. "No one can know." Those words stabbed straight into me. I didn't speak right away. I just looked at him. "Why?" I asked, even though I already knew. "You know why," he answered. "Because you're the captain?" I smiled bitterly. "Because of your perfect image?" His jaw tightened. "Don't turn this into a joke, Ambrose." "I'm not joking," I said, voice dropping. "You're telling me that—" I took a breath. "This has to stay hidden." "Yeah." One word. Firm. My heart ached, not because I didn't understand, but because I understood too well. "I'm not the only one scared here, Vance," I said. "This isn't about fear," he replied quickly. "Then what is it?" He stayed silent. "Then, reality." I laughed, not happily. "Reality is you don't want anyone to know you just kissed a guy." He looked straight at me, no denial. "And you?" he asked. "Are you ready for the whole school to know?" I froze. The image flashed through my mind. The stares. The whispers. I swallowed hard. "No," I said quietly. "Then," he spread his hands slightly, "we understand each other." The air grew heavy again. "It's just," I said slowly, "I don't want to feel like I'm some dirty secret." His eyes changed. I never said you were. But you're acting like it. Vance sighed, tired. I'm not good at this stuff, he said. Feelings, relationships, any of it. I frowned. Then why me? That question made him go quiet. For a long time. Then he looked at me. This time no defense. No hiding. Because you're not like anyone else. My heartbeat slowed. You don't look at me the way they do, he continued. You don't care who I am out there. I do care, I argued. No, he shook his head. You care about me when I'm not the captain. I said nothing because he was right. And he paused. I'm not used to that. But I like it, he added, almost a whisper. My heart clenched. Then don't hide it, I said. He smiled faintly, said, It's not that simple. I don't need simple, I replied. I just need real. His eyes locked onto mine. The air changed again. This time, no tension, just closeness. He stepped closer, slowly. I can't promise that, he said. I nodded. At least you're honest. But, he stopped right in front of me. I can promise one thing. What? He leaned down. That when you're here, he whispered against my lips, I won't pretend. My heart pounded. Pretend what? I asked, voice hoarse. He didn't answer with words. He kissed me. This time, deeper. No rush, no impulse. Just intention. I closed my eyes, kissed him back. My hands grabbed his shirt, pulled him closer. No more distance, no more boundaries. Only us. And in that moment, I forgot everything else. Forgot that this was a secret. Forgot that tomorrow would come. I only knew that, for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a loser. I stayed in Vance's room that night, longer than I planned, longer than I should have. At first, we just sat on the bed, far enough apart to pretend everything was still normal. We talked, small things, about classes, about the upcoming test, about the team. But as the minutes passed, that distance slowly disappeared. Are you always like this? I asked. Like what? Keeping everything under control. Vance leaned back against the wall, eyes on the ceiling. Not always. I don't believe you, I smiled lightly. He turned to look at me. What do you think I am? I thought for a moment. Someone who never lets himself lose. Maybe, he admitted. Then what about today? I asked. You already lost. He frowned. What do you mean? I tilted my head, looking straight at him. You said this was a mistake. But you still let me stay here. His eyes darkened. There are some games. I accept losing, he said slowly. My heart trembled. And I'm one of those games? I asked. He didn't answer. But the way he looked at me was the answer. We kissed again. This time, no hesitation, no questions. Only feeling. I don't know who started it. I only knew we didn't stop. Time disappeared. Until Ambrose. His voice came out rough and low. I opened my eyes. He was looking at me, so close. Are you sure? He asked. That question pulled me back to reality. I knew what he was really asking, not just about this moment, but about everything. Was I sure about this? About him? About us? I should have said no, But I didn't. Yeah, I answered. And this time, I was the one who pulled him in. That night I didn't sleep. Not because I wasn't tired, but because I didn't want to close my eyes. I lay next to Vance, staring at the ceiling, listening to his steady breathing beside me. Everything was too quiet. "You still awake?" he asked, voice sleepy. I turned to him. "Yeah." He opened his eyes, gaze hazy. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. I stayed quiet for a moment. "That tomorrow will be different," I said. He frowned. "Different how?" I smiled faintly. "You'll go back to being Vance. The captain. The guy everyone knows." "And you?" he asked. "I'll still be Ambrose, the guy no one notices." "Not to me," he said. My heart tightened. "Only when we're here," I replied. He didn't say anything, but I felt he understood. The next morning, everything went back to normal, at least on the surface. I left his room before the sun was fully up. No one saw, no one knew. I walked down the dorm hallway like a ghost. And when I stepped outside, the cold morning wind hit my face. Reality. I pulled my hood up, head down, walking fast. Like last night had only been a dream, but when I walked into psychology class, I knew it wasn't. Vance was already there, sitting in the front row, like always. He didn't look at me, didn't greet me, didn't show any sign that last night had ever happened. My heart sank. I went to my usual seat, the back corner. Sat down. Alone. Just like before. Except it wasn't the same anymore. The whole class, I couldn't focus on anything. I just stared at the front. Vance. He took notes, listened to the lecture, occasionally smiled at his friends. Perfect. As if I had never touched him. As if his lips had never been on mine. I clenched my fists under the desk. So stupid, I told myself. What did I expect? That he would sit next to me? That he would smile? That he would choose me? The bell rang. Everyone started getting up. So did I. I packed my things, trying to leave before. "Ambrose." I froze. That voice. I turned around. Vance was standing right behind me. My heart pounded. "Yeah." I tried to keep my voice normal. He glanced around, made sure no one was paying attention. "Library. 5 o'clock, he said quietly. I looked at him. "For what?" Something flickered in his eyes. "To talk." I smiled bitterly. "Didn't we just do that?" His jaw tightened. "Ambrose." "I get it." I cut him off. "I'll be there," I said. He nodded, then turned and walked away. Without another word. I stood there for a few seconds, my heart still racing. "To talk." I repeated in my head. I didn't know why, but I had a feeling that conversation would change everything.